Go for Side Effects is sponsored by Wild Branch Products. Wild Branch is a truly pure cannabis oil. They make CBD containing 0.00% THC and no carrier oils. Use Wild Branch oils and salves to calm, cool, and soothe your body, leaving you pain-free. I put on a salve. I used the oils. I was able to walk for hours. I believe in this product 100%. Use promo code GWI podcast for 15% off. Use promo code GWI podcast for 15% off. Click the link below. Thank you. Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. My co-host, John. How you doing today, John?
Good. How are you?
Good. Today we got Matty on. Matty is a Navy veteran, and so we got 2 against 1 today, Matty, and I'm going to join the hell out of this. Us against the Army, which we always kick their ass in football.
Yeah. Okay.
But, Matty, go ahead and tell us the years you were in and what you did.
Hi, I'm Matty Gant, mine E4, IC3, United States Navy, 1991 to 2000. Started out on the USS Independence out of Yokosuka, Japan for a couple of years. Fewer 50,000 stories about that place. Returned home to the USS Shiloh. Stationed out of San Diego, California for the rest of my 5-year sea duty. And then I had about 3 years in San Diego at SEMA Shore Command, repairing shipboard facility things or like shit that I worked on when I was on the ship. When I went to SEMA, I actually went there because while I was on the Shiloh, I learned how to work on the bear claw traps that caught the cable for the helicopters when they land on the flight deck on the small boys. They need something to anchor to while they're pitching and rolling. So I went to school for that on the ship, and then at shore duty, I worked out of the shop there in San Diego to repair those for other ships. And then got out and did my thing across the Midwest so far. We'll see where I go from here.
Okay, now you see the ship behind me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The USS San Jose.
I think we crossed paths somewhere, man.
We sure did. We were your unrep ship during all that time.
You might cut my hair, man. After watching a couple of these shows and then seeing your shenanigans on Instagram, I think you in the Persian Gulf somewhere, man. I think we crossed paths.
You know, Matty, I know teaming up on John is going to be fun tonight, but
Bring it.
It's normally Army against Navy here. I mean, I got to enjoy this at least once. But when you were in, what did it remind you of when you went in the Persian Gulf with all the oil rig fires?
The fires is something I'd never really seen. I grew up on the river around here, so I was used to being out in the country. I loved the stars at night, things like that. That was one of my favorite things about being in the Navy was the stars and the darkness at night. But you would get out there and you could see those things from hundreds of miles away burning, and you could see the blackness above them in the night sky, which just
gorgeous.
You didn't think about it then. You didn't think about it as much then. But it's just gross to think about now that it's just a fire. It's burning off. It's going up.
Right. It was gross. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
And you're sitting outside. You when we unwrap or we're underway, we're all outside. Think about that stuff getting inside your skin and then everything else.
Now, daytime days.
now when you got back, and by the way, I love your shirt and I love both flags behind you, just to let you know. But when you got back and you got out, when did you start exhibiting some of the problems from the Gulf War?
Noticing them, I didn't start putting things together with Gulf War stuff until about maybe 3 years ago. Now thinking back at the conditions that I have and how long I've had them, it wasn't long after I left Michigan in 2004, started doing a couple of different career changes. I've always worked with my hands as an ice seaman, turning wrenches, screwdrivers, and things like that. First thing that started was the muscle cramps and the muscle fatigue, and the spasms. Sometimes I'll get I have a pinched nerve in the back of my neck. Literally 20 minutes ago, when I got out of the shower and I was brushing my hair, I was getting spasms and cramps in this arm while I'm brushing my hair. 12, let me see, if my son's 13, 14 years ago, I had a job. After so long of doing a repetitive motion, this hand would completely lock up and I had to pry it apart. Sometimes I'd have to push my forearm all the way down. In the woods one time, I was starting a chainsaw, and something with the neck spasms and a pinched nerve in my neck right here. I almost passed out when it started. And it's like that motion alone will cause numbness up there. Every time we went in and out of port or changed different geographics of the world, I would get a head cold. And each time it would get worse while we were over there. The left side of my sinuses were like always plugged. It's 103 degrees in the devil's butt in the Persian Gulf. And I get a sinus cold. Like, what the hell? Who gets sick in the winter, in the summer over there when it's just hot and nasty? The headaches that would come along with that. So it was probably 4 or 5 years after I got out, but I never got the shot either. I was on shore duty between 97 and 2000. And that was another thing with why I got out, was I didn't want it. It just, for some reason, I didn't want it. They weren't offering me anything really cool to go back to as far as ship wise. And they wanted me to change geographics of the country. So I was like, no, I'm done. My first wife and I decided to move back to Michigan. I flew over there like 3 times though, base hop from place to place, rode in helos a couple of times, a couple of cargo planes, sat and watched them spray down the flight deck with AFFF as you're sitting in between 2 radars.
What the hell is whatever you just said? What is that?
AFFF, Aquarius, fucking foam.
Yeah, it's firefighting foam. So say an airplane catches on fire on board the Independence, you can use that. Or they deep six it, whichever one, right?
Okay, so you guys are going to hit me with all these Navy terms. I don't know what the bloody hell means. What the hell is deep six?
Deep six
I can speculate.
Throw it over the side of the ship. It's gone.
Okay, all right.
Float test that bitch.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, now I want to ask both y'all a question. And I don't know why I haven't asked this on any of my other podcasts, but I want to know something. When y'all wake up in the morning, do y'all's hands shake and like muscle spasms real bad?
That's why I don't sleep more than a few hours.
I don't have that problem, but I as well don't sleep. I mean, even being on a CPAP, I don't sleep much. it keeps me breathing, I guess, is the positive side of that, but I don't sleep much.
Man,
No, I don't get the handshakes.
man,
Yeah, hope I don't.
I tell you what, I got an air hose. I come over there, John, and when you fall asleep, I'll just.
Jesus. Yeah, that'd be great. Before I get up and beat your ass. Watch your ass. Let's not start talking about that again.
Right? I don't need to be labeled anymore as more of a great.
They're right. Well, you know, I kind of look back and I try to figure out. I look at a lot of the positive stuff while I was in because there was some really cool shit. I mean, being out at sea, there's nothing like being out at sea with stars at night. I mean, nothing. I mean, you see the weirdest shit at night, and you were like, damn, we got a lot of satellites up there. But the other thing is the sound of the ocean is beautiful.
Oh,
Man, you're breaking waves. Nothing like the sound of that.
that green glow.
Oh, the green glow at nighttime. John, when the ships would go at nighttime and that water's breaking, man, it puts a green ring around the ship and it just glows. It's beautiful.
My biggest fascination when it comes to the Navy, and of course, I've never been on a ship. I have this big fascination with submarines.
Why?
No.
Why on God's green earth? Hell no.
Because it's the things that you don't see that fascinate me. I mean, I can see I'm like aircraft carrier. You can freaking see. I've never seen one in person, but that's another fascination. Being on the ship, I'm sure, is interesting, but something about being on a sub, you're down and God knows where. It's just.
But they don't have no damn glass like you can see underwater and see the.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, but now I will say this. I will say the coolest thing I think I ever saw. We were pulling out of Ikusuka, Japan, and they were like, Japan had a submarine that was going out before us, and they requested to do a little show, and we're like, yeah, and the captain's like, y'all got to check this out. So, you know, off of the port side, which, you know, that's the left side.
Thanks.
So that submarine comes out of that damn water and comes up and boom, splashes in the water. It's the baddest ass thing I've ever saw, man. I was like, hell yeah.
See, that'd be interesting. Actually, I worked with a guy who I think, well, whatever they call it when you're steering the ship, he did that.
Helmsman.
Let's say again.
Helmsman.
Okay, well, that's what he did. And he was a submariner, not a very big person, and I don't know. He messed. I almost threw the F-bomb. He messed something up real bad, and I guess you have a lot of controls when you're steering. And he did something and got things all wonky and had to figure it out because he was new at the job. I'm like, huh. Because you can go under the Antarctic. I mean, you're under the water. It's just fascinating to me. I mean, if I wasn't puking all day long, being on top would be kind of interesting on a ship. One of these days.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
You talk about green. I'd be 3 shades of green. If I...
So I was on the aircraft carrier, and my job as an eye seaman, when I first got there, was sound powered phones. Like I unsoldered and resoldered and repaired wires and fixed headsets and just hand phones and stuff is all I did. And also in our shop, there was other communication devices and navigation equipment. We had the gyro in the forward shop and the aft shop. The gyro gives you the heading, direction, pitch and roll. And you're on an aircraft carrier, man. It's like a barge on the Mississippi River, you know. You're on an aircraft carrier. Yeah. And we're down in the shop and we got bookcases and bookshelves. Our chairs got damn wheels on them, man. Ain't nothing tied down. You're on an aircraft carrier. And I'm sitting there with my feet up on the gyro, and the gyro looks kind of like R2-D2, and it's like 3 feet high, and it's got handles on it, and a big glass top. And I got my damn feet up watching TV in the shop because we run the TV, and just enjoying the cruise. And the next thing you know, you feel a little bit of something and a little bit of something. And I look down at that gyro, and that shit starts going. the needle does. And we hit like a 19-degree roll, and my chair went zoom across the shop, and shit come flying off the shelves. And
I'll tell you what, I've seen the screws come out of the back of the aircraft carrier. And that's
Oh.
when you know you got rough seas. When you can see the propellers.
Yeah,
Of
and
them suckers,
you'll learn
man.
a whole new respect for water out in the middle of that ocean, just watching them waves, making those big ass ships just look like toys.
Oh yeah.
So what is from the very bottom of, say, an aircraft carrier to the top? What are we talking height wise, feet wise?
Probably 200 feet.
Holy shit! Really?
Oh
You're
yeah,
a good-
man.
You're a good the pilot house is a good 10 to 12 stories off the water, they say.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
let's put it this way. We were unrepping the USS Ranger. And there was a guy that was standing on top of the flight deck. He jumps off. He says the wind blew him off. My ass, I saw his feet literally jump off. I don't give a. That guy wants to take my ass to court. You go right ahead, because I literally saw that son of a bitch jump off into snake and shark infested water on the USS Ranger, and our helicopter had to go pick him up.
He's trying to kill himself or what?
We don't know what the hell that. Well, see, once you go overboard, I think they give you a choice to get out of the military. I've always heard that,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't know. Hell,
You usually, I
No.
think they usually ship you out after that. Well, you're definitely going for a psych eval and shit, but it costs resources, it costs time. Yeah, it gives the guys a little bit of training to get the helo out and pick your ass out of the
yeah, it's
water.
crazy,
but
man.
yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. The captain on the Shiloh kept an M14 back with the signalman behind the pilot house, and we'd be out in the middle of the damn ocean, and you'd be up there, and he'd see a couple of sea snakes 100 yards out or some shit. This guy had an eyeball for sea snakes, and he would call for the signalman, and they would bring up that M14 and a couple of clips, and he'd have a contest with them. Sea snakes, or which you could get it faster or whatever, you know.
Yeah, the Navy commanders can either make or break a command. It's amazing.
I went to Captain's Pass more than once.
Yeah, and you know, all my commanding officers were pretty cool. I enjoyed each and every one of them. But now we're going to swing back in the topic again. We got to get off these Navy stories. I can go all night. I'm telling you. So, up till now, does the VA do your health? You know, do you go to the VA for your health care?
So I checked in with the VA right after I got out with a whole list of shit, and they looked at it and said, "Hey, how you doing? It's 2001. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Welcome to Michigan. We'll treat you. We'll talk to you about anything." And nobody said anything about putting in a claim.
Ain't that
Not a word.
amazing? Ain't that amazing?
Not a word. I have proof. I have the paperwork. I have the shit that they acknowledged that I came there for. And nobody says nothing. So I go about life, and I'm busy as hell with a wife and a couple of kids and 8 acres and horses. And I did a little bit through the VA, but in 2001, 2002, 2004, they were an absolute nightmare pain in the ass. And they would frustrate me to the point to where I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with it. I'll grab another bottle of 800 milligram Motrin and throw it in my lunch bag, and I'm gonna head down the road. Now, see right there, holding my arm back like that causes that nerve all up in there. Anyway, I dealt with it like everyone else did, and the way we were flipping train to, man. You pound some more Motrin, you rub some dirt on that shit, and you get back to work. You have muscle cramps or flat feet, or the sinuses hurting and shit draining out your ears from your ear pressure that's never the same again. But yeah, don't tell me I got sinusitis or rhinitis. Nobody said anything about filing a claim. But they would sure look at me. I went back to I came back to Illinois in 2005, 4, something like that. So I went back to the VA, I think in 2008-ish, 7 or 8 for mental, PTSD, not military related, divorce related, other things. And every one of us honestly should get PTSD, because from the minute you go into boot camp, you're never going to be the same again. You're not. I don't fit in with civilians very often. I mean, I do, but I've learned how to bite my tongue over the years. In the same way with dealing with the VA, it just until I didn't file my first claim until 2016, maybe no, 2014, and they denied me because I didn't turn in any evidence, not even realizing I was sitting on a medical file that thick from my active duty days. And I started picking through that shit, and I was like, and I'm not too proud to say it. My good friend and the Sea Daddy, Stu Hardison, called me from South Carolina, I believe it was, one day and said, "Hey, dumbass, you been to the VA for those headaches you get?" "What do you mean?" "What do you mean?" "Yeah, I've been to them." He's like, "Well, you need to be rated for it, and then you're not paying out the ass for 800 milligram Motrin." Because I told the VA years ago that I smoke weed, and they won't give me anything.
Yeah, that's one thing about it, man. That's the one thing about the VA. And see, that's what I've said on the show before. I don't agree with that. I have never done weed in my lifetime. Never. But they want to send you to a pain management. And the pain management is like, look, if you would just take one extra Motrin, you'd be just fine.
I got that right here.
The Motrin, that must just be throughout the military, because they gave us Motrin. I remember from the time I went into basic training, if I had anything that was bothering me, I don't give a rat's ass what you went to go see doc about. You're always going to guaranteed, 100% guaranteed, you're going to walk out with 800 milligrams of Motrin. That was a fix-all.
I told the VA 6 years ago, I got a pain in my side right here. Doesn't ever go away. Sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a lot worse. It's always right there in the left side of my ribs. I'm not sure where my gut's at, but sometimes it hurts when I drink something hot. Sometimes I can feel cold go down that way past it. Sometimes it's really flared up, sometimes it's not. Well, you probably have an ulcer. You should maybe try Ptsd or something. What do you take for it? Well, what do you think, man? Why don't you diagnose it, you asshole?
Right. And to me, that's one of the biggest problems about the VA. They'll write it down, but they don't diagnose.
Oh, yeah. I learned what my C file was in the last year or so. And I went to see my general practitioner. I said, "So I have a regular gait walking down the hallway at 3:30 in the afternoon, huh?" I said, "Do you know that I smoked before I came into this office, and maybe next time I won't?" Right. That's why I might have.
So they even in Illinois, since it's legal there, but because you're smoking weed in the VA, if the VA finds out, basically that essentially screws you.
No, it depends on what state you're in. If you're in an illegal state, they can take away I don't think they can take away your benefits now. I had it. Okay, I have my camera set up and I have my desk and shit set up. My notes are a mess. And I put it away because looking at things too long for me, sitting out, like that I haven't moved on. And I have an ass load of notes I've been doing over the last 2 years since COVID hit, sitting in a basement bedroom, like everything from cannabis to the VA and health things and stuff like that. So they won't necessarily take away your benefits, but they will deny you any pain meds. They're not going to give you narcotics because they, for some reason, think that cannabis and narcotics are a no-no together. But I go to the damn liquor store with a bottle of their fucking pills, excuse my French, and pound both of them, and they're going to be like, "Well, do you need more? Because you can't get them till next month." But
well, so I asked a question because Sarah, who we've had on here, a few different times. She's out in the state of Washington, you know, and she's able to do the cannabis. And I was like, okay, here in the state of Iowa, it's not legal, can't do it. But I was like, well, we talked before the show a little bit. It's like, just make it legal. I mean, I don't know how that works. Even if Uncle Sam, even if it's legal in the state, does that still mean through the VA? It's federal and
So here's your out on that, John. Since you live in Iowa, yes, it is illegal for you to have it. If you self-identify with the VA, they're not necessarily going to take away your benefits, but if you're getting any narcotics or other things that they suspect it may conflict with your prescriptions, they will stop prescribing them to them. If you tell them you're going to continue to use it, they, however, can't deny you your benefits because there's nothing stopping you from driving over to Illinois, staying in Illinois and consuming it. They can't prove when you consumed it when it's in your system. They just have, will know that it's in your system. You can come over here. You can sit in my house. You can sit on my back deck legally where nobody can see you and no kids can see you. We can smoke. We could have a brownie. We could talk about it. You could have 1 puff, 2 puffs, and slowly medicate into how it will work for you. There's 1,000 different ways, from taking a tincture that's going to make my stomach not hurt the way it does and naturally heal that ulcer, to maybe 1 or 2 hits to just smooth you down and not make you stoned, but just slow you down. CBD can do the same thing for people too. Depends on the ailment and what your body's made up.
It is funny you say that, because I even think CBD, that has none of that stuff in it. If you tell the VA you taking it, it's the same thing.
Well, that's because we had talked to
right.
Is it? Oh, you know how bad I am with names.
Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon, because she, her product and the CBDs and stuff, and I mean, I don't know how often. I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and that individual was talking about cannabis, and I was like, I just hope in the next 3 or 4 years, because obviously it's been proven it's a great benefit to, a lot of varied problems that we have.
I've guided more than a few brothers away from alcohol. I have a brother right now. He's struggling with a divorce and he's running. He's on the road. And I hope he's staying away from his other vices, like I've tried to steer him towards. Cannabis, I didn't kill anybody in service. I wasn't in combat per se. I've watched things go down from a distance. I sat on a ship, we shot missiles. I don't know how many times I parked where the USS Cole was bombed. I have PTSD from the Navy in ways like everybody should, from serving and going overseas and dealing what we dealt with. But it's helped me through some pretty bad, bitter divorces. And I tried taking an antipsychotic pill years ago. I haven't remembered, and I don't know why, and I don't care why. I don't remember dreams. It doesn't matter if I sleep for 8 hours, 2 days, 20 minutes. I will not wake up and remember a dream. Antidepressant medicines after my first divorce, which was pretty nasty, and that's a story in itself. My second wife said you should try something, so I went to counseling. The VA didn't diagnose me, didn't offer me to file a claim or anything for nothing, but they'll look at me psych-wise. And I took those pills and I had nightmares, very, very, very vivid nightmares of doing not so nice things to somebody that I had a lot of hatred for. And to wake up from that scared the ever living piss out of me. And I came right back to cannabis because it's the one thing that's always been there for me. Not to get stoned, smacked out of your head, however people want to assume THC is. CBD works amazing. THC works great by itself too, but those two together in just that natural plant have what they call an entourage effect. And depending on the plant, the strain, it can either make you crazy, it can make you lazy. I can make you sleepy. I can make you happy.
Okay.
Serious. And it's kept a gun out of my hand that I've had before. It's kept a bottle of pills out of my mouth that sat next to my bed. It kept me from wanting to turn that bike into oncoming traffic in the times that you just don't know how to deal, because popping another 800 milligram and rubbing dirt on it.
Well,
Right.
I know the VA will pump you through full of a lot of various medications. And I've told my doctor knows how I feel about medications. There's always some damn side effect. And I told her, I said, I'm just not willing to deal with the side effects. I'd rather deal with what, the natural thing. And I'm not going to go through what it is that I take, but I mean, the bottom line is nobody, because we already have enough problems. And if you're pumping me full of pills of certain types of things, you got to take into consider, okay, I'm willing to deal with whatever the side effects are. And my wife, and I don't know what term she says, sometimes I will read and I'll let that influence my thought process, which is fair. Because I suppose if something gives me limp dick, I'm like, no, ain't taking it, period, end of story.
After you take 2 or 3 things, you're defeating the purpose of most of them anyway. And that's not something you should lose.
Well,
Right.
well, I over time, they gave me like muscle relaxers. None of that shit ever worked. All the medicine. I mean, ibuprofen works if I have a headache or anything. But the one thing is, like, when the doctor I had, he's gone now, starting in June, but the neuropathy I had, and without that medicine, I wouldn't be able to walk. So I give it that. I give the VA neurologist that. But because I've never been in for PTSD or anything like that, I believe a lot of that is what they call mask. They just mask the situation a little bit. And
yeah. They're gonna put duct tape on it anywhere they can.
Right. When was it, John? I put a Band-Aid on my
Acknowledge
forehead.
it. If you acknowledge it, then you have to take care of it. And the last freaking thing they really want to do is acknowledge.
Right. Well, I don't think they know how. The reason I say that is because everything we were exposed to over there, I don't even think these doctors that are coming in, my doctor didn't even believe in Gulf War syndrome or illnesses. He didn't believe in it. So
I think mine had to do reading, because I don't know how long she had been before I went there. I don't think she knew a lot about it, because as a lot of us, well, Matty, you explained that you were putting 2 and 2 together within the last 3 to 4 years. And we talk about this basically every program. Some people it affects right away, and they know something ain't right. And very early on after the war, they were able to kind of fold things together. I knew something wasn't right, but I wasn't able to put the 2 and 2 together until, I don't know, it's been, it's less than 10 years ago. But, when I was working, I was sweating profusely. Okay, I'm a bit bigger guy, but there is no reason I was sweating it was almost like a stream coming off me. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, I know I'm a heavy, but damn,
I'll dehydrate quick. Yeah. My body will just lock up, dehydrate quick in no time.
So does mine. That's something I did notice. I get dehydrated very easily.
Huh.
And I pee all the time.
Amen. So do I. And I don't understand it.
Radiated in the ship. I think it's something to do with all the bullshit and the magnetism, and could be chemicals too. But I think with us Navy people, it's more all that magnetism and shit around that.
I mean, I'm not just saying it. Obviously, I think there's a lot more to it than just have been in the Navy, because until just now, I'd never heard. I brought it up that I was sweating so much, and I've always sweat really easy. That's just my nature. But when something isn't right, when you're sweating so much, you're like, this shit ain't normal. I mean, they're okay, out of shape, blah, 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 blah. But my God, you know, and then the energy depletion and, you know, on top of being dehydrated and Jesus, it's everything that stacks on top of one another.
For the longest time, I thought I was just a lazy pothead. And I'm not gonna lie, my ex-wife called me a dumb old stoner, but I proved her wrong with that. She talked shit to my kid, and he turned around, looked at her, he said, well, what part of the stage of the plant shouldn't I be around in, Mom? In vegetation or when flower, when it's actually producing bud?
Well, here's the one thing though. The one thing that a lot of ex-spouses don't understand is the shit we went through and what we were exposed to. It changes you over time.
Yeah, mental fatigue.
Yes, mental fatigue. Shit, that's a great statement. I mean, really, truly, I mean, it's like I told my wife the other night, I need a B12 shot. And shit, I still haven't taken my damn B12 shot.
The world wears me out.
Yes, it's like I'm so wore out. I'm tired all the time. But, I mean, it just amazes me to find out. Now I'm finding out how many people have kidney stones.
Oh, fuck them things.
Oh, oh my God, I've only had, you've told me your stories. I've been fortunate to only have one. That shit will kill you.
Have you ever had kidney stones, Matty?
Which time do you want to know about?
Right.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
I got my first one within the first year I was out, and I was sober. I wasn't smoking. I was legit sober. We were flying from Michigan. It got this shit in 2001. We were flying from Michigan to Arizona for my ex-brother-in-law's wedding. I slipped and fell down the steps and dislocated my lower back, and I've had back problems since I screwed shit up in the Navy. But like here, I thought I threw my back out real bad, but my ex-wife was my ex-wife, and it didn't matter. We had to get to the airport the next day, had to fly to Arizona. So I did this shit at like midnight. We left at 4 or 5 in the morning, get all the way to Arizona. That night, we're at a rehearsal wedding, and I said to my ex-father-in-law, my back is still killing me. I can barely walk. I can barely move. I had a half of a Corona. He gave me 1 hydrocodone. Now, all I'd been doing active duty is flipping Motrin, man. They are not going to give you hydrocodone on the ship. If you're not asking for it, you're not going to get it. I got arthritis in my knees and shit. They're not going to give me hydrocodone. They're going to give me an anti-inflammatory. So he gives me this 1 hydrocodone. I remember this plain as day, man, 21 years ago. I woke up the next morning in the hotel bed, well, the place we were staying at, because I went back to the room, put my daughter to sleep because she was, like a year old maybe, or 2 years old. Put her in the crib in the playpen and laid down in the bed. And I woke up at 4 in the morning, and I had pissed the bed, and I had no back pain. Absolutely none. Fast forward 10, 12 years, I'm at another wedding reception, ironically, but this time I'm in Iowa, and I'm wearing cargo shorts, and I got beer stacked up on top of beer in my shorts, and I'm smoking with my ex-brother-in-law, and I've peed 8,500 times already. And I remember going to the bathroom, and I had to stand there for like 30 seconds. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell, man? I've peed 8,500 times today. Why am I taking 35 seconds to pee? And the next morning I woke up with that same pain I had before I went to Michigan 12 years before. And I had pissed a kidney stone at the wedding reception and I was so drunk I didn't realize it, but I was numb from smoking and overhydrated. My urethra was wide open from peeing all day already, apparently. But the next day it caught up to me, and I had 3 more attacks 2 years ago. Oh no, last year I had 3 more attacks in 1 month.
I've had the biggest kidney stone. I'm not kidding y'all. The first time I had it, they flew me off of the ship, and they were about to operate on me on the Independence. And this was in 92. I bullshit you not. They took an X-ray and they're like, "Well, you got one in there. It's never gonna move." They're right. That son of a bitch grew real big, 1.5 inches big.
Oh,
I can't even imagine.
It took.
you peed it out?
It took my urethra, ripped it in half. I got tubes up in my kidneys from it. No, I couldn't get out. They had to surgically go through me and pull it out.
Ooh,
Jesus.
I spit out.
Savages.
Just shoot me.
Yes.
Just shoot me.
I wouldn't want to take the helicopter ride to the ship, let alone, man. No, my God, no.
I was screaming bloody. I crawled in the hospital on all fours, begging them, just give me a knife. I'll cut it out myself. And I didn't know. I didn't know. And then when that doctor, and now y'all want to hear the funniest thing? This was my doctor's name. He walked in. He goes, "Hi, I'm Dr. Winkle. If you can't tinkle, call Dr. Winkle."
Oh my God.
I'm like, what the hell is kind of? And finally,
threw something at him.
And well, no. And then the nurse comes in, and the nurse is like, "Kevin, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, I have a kidney stone. And they're telling me how big it was. And she goes, "Well, I'm going to be your nurse. Are you okay with that?" I'm like, "I don't care. Get the damn thing out of me." It ripped me so bad. I bet you for 3 months I was in and out of the hospital from it.
Jesus. I can't even begin to imagine. Mine was itty bitty. And I remember we called the ambulance. This has been probably 3 years ago. And I just remember that EMT come in, and I told her, I said, "I don't know what the fuck you got, but pump me full, whatever it is right now, because this is fucking killing me."
Right.
Sorry.
No.
And then, well, see, that's what I'm talking about. I have met more Gulf War veterans that have had kidney stones because their bodies get so dehydrated so fast. And I think it's from the chemicals we've all taken in.
All over.
Right.
Hair,
that's right.
lungs.
And like you said, John, you're sweating and everything.
Lord.
And we dehydrate quick. Now, on top of that, I have found coconut water works really good. And it's kind of, I have one at least once every other year, which I'm grateful for it, I guess. Instead of having one every 6 months to a year, it's every other year. But
I go the rest of my life without having another one of them some bitches.
Oh, yeah, man. I better never hear a woman. I'm telling you, this is going to be taped. I better never hear a woman say, "I don't know what it's like to give birth." Because I gave birth to 38 of them son of a bitches.
God almighty.
And if men had to give birth,
The man, bro.
there would be no kids alive today.
My God. The last time I was in the ER, I was standing in the, I think back in the room while I was pacing, and this nurse walked in and she hadn't seen me yet. And she walks in and she's like, "Yep, you got him."
Yeah.
Just like that.
I was walking.
I walk in and I tell them immediately, "I have kidney stones. It's not real big. It's probably about this size." And they're just like, "How in the hell does he know this?" Well, you have 38 of them. You know how big that they are and everything. But the thing is, but it isn't just that. We all have fatigue.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
You know, a lot of them have fibromyalgia or they have neuropathy.
I'm getting exam for both of those coming up soon.
And so there's no difference to me in fibromyalgia than there is neuropathy because it all deals with your nerves.
This thumb was numb for like 3 months straight.
These my 3 fingers are completely numb now.
Really?
All 3 of them. These 3 right here and half of my thumb. On this hand, these 2 burn. They're like fire now.
How the hell do you cut hair?
When's the last time you've been to a chiropractor, man?
Man, I've been one time and I seen the way that they crack. Oh hell no! You ain't cracking my little ass.
You
Oh
need some
shit, John, I
natural
brought
healing,
little
bro. Y'all need some natural healing. What has Sarah been teaching you?
ass.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, it's amazing. A lot of the vets that I talk to that have the neurological problems, vets that have the chronic fatigue, the fibromyalgia, and then the digestive system. I tell you the one thing that most vets aren't talking about is the brain fog.
No, mine's getting worse. Oh, mine's getting bad.
I tell you what, since they put me on Primadone, I don't have any brain fog.
Really? Was that for that?
No, actually, it's for the tremors I got.
Okay, I think you shared
But
that.
I am telling you, I am 100% convinced that Primadone cured my brain fog. And I mean, it didn't cure the tremors all the way, but it helps out a lot. But the brain fog I have it's gone.
Well, man. Okay. Well, I'm happy for you on that. I'm sitting there when I'll be talking to my wife, here, especially maybe in the last month, be talking to her. And it's not that I forget what I want to say, but I can't come up with the terms. As you know, I'm bad with names.
Right.
But that being said, some general conversation, and it's like I'm like pause, and I'm sitting there. I can't pull that word in. You know, that's just frustrating.
I'll tell you the other thing I do. I play a lot of mental games. Like
I think that's a good idea.
I do. I play a lot of mental games to help my brain. I can remember every phone number I've had since I was 7 years old.
Holy crap.
I can
Really?
remember every one of my ship phone numbers. I can tell you what line goes to the captain's line. I can tell you every cell phone number I've ever had. I can tell you my kids' cell phone numbers. I can tell you my dad's, my mom, everybody's. I've always been able to remember that stuff. But the stuff that I don't remember, but it comes back through smell or anything like that, is some of the stuff I did in the Navy. It's weird. But I mean, I'm telling you, I can remember my ship phone number. It's just weird. I don't know why I can remember all that crap.
Hard time remembering what I need from the grocery store, man.
I take a list and forget the damn list.
Shit. Hey,
Every time.
when my wife hears this podcast, she's gonna go, "Well, how in the hell don't you remember the milk or remember this on your way home?" I can remember the long term. It's the short term stuff I cannot remember.
I will walk back out to the van while I'm doing an install and stand there for a minute and be like, oh yeah, I needed that yet. And then I'll get 15 feet away and like, shit, I gotta go back because I didn't get that, but I got 3 other things. And I always called that attention deficit squirrel.
Right. Well, you know, I talk to a lot of veterans who have been divorced, several, not several, but a couple times, once, twice, 3 times, whatever. But a lot of their spouses, like I am divorced. My ex-wife was in the Air Force, but we met while we were on Guam, and we got along great because we have a son together, but she understands why I went through because she was in the military. But a lot of reasons the veterans are getting divorced today is because their spouses don't understand. And that's what I hope this program does, is teaches the spouses what we've gone through, what we've dealt with. And your husband ain't the only one. Your wife ain't the only one.
I didn't understand what I went through either. I didn't understand what either one of my ex-wives were dealing with at the time.
Right. And they have to deal with it too.
Yeah.
You guys, I will get angry and not be able to shut off the anger. And that gets worse. or I'll get really kind of depressed and lay in bed and fight like bloody hell to try and pull myself out of the bed. Because anybody that knows anything about depression, I mean, we can all say, well, you got to do something to pull it out. That's a whole lot easier said than done. Just like when you get pissed off, you're like, you're pissed off. And it might be if it was even something kind of stupid, but you can't shut it off. You can't shut it off.
Right. I mean, Matty could probably attest to this from being in the Navy. When you're on a ship, your dependency on everybody on that ship is survival.
Not my job isn't in my name.
Your boats mates need to know what they're doing. Everybody has a specific job at different times, not just one job. The cooks are watch for mines. I mean, it's amazing the different jobs that we have in the Navy besides our own job. And that's the one thing I always found pretty fascinating is in the Navy, like I was a bosun mate, Matty. Bosun mates, everybody knows them as the grunts of the Army or the Marines. They do it all. Without your bosun mates, that ship would not run. Okay? But other jobs, but we drove the ship. We were the helmsman, lee helmsman, the port, starboard, all that. We did it all. We painted. We made it look good. Half the time it looked like shit, but we tried to make it look good. But we learned how to drive fork trucks. We ran the booms. We ran the cranes. We did it. We were
sailors.
Sailors. That's right. We were the diehard sailors.
Damn right.
But if you look back and you look on it, everybody was. Because without the SKs, you wouldn't have your supplies. Hell, even without the barber that was an SK, you wouldn't look good doing your job. And half of them did cut hair anyway, good, but I'm just saying. But your cooks, without the cooks, you wouldn't be able to eat. You wouldn't be able to do your job. Without the boiler techs. Now, boiler techs were a whole different breed. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Yeah. Because the boiler techs were always the biggest damn guys on the ship. I never understood it.
It's a different world down in them engine rooms, man. It's hot. It's steamy.
It's 100 and some degrees down below at all times.
You're just in your sack, bro.
And them guys were huge.
Like,
I mean, John, you're 6'2", right? Mm-hmm. So these guys are probably 6'2", and they big old boys. And so we would play jokes on some of the seamen that were brand new and be like, hey, we need you to go down and ask for a BT punch. So they go down below decks and they're like, hey, I need a BT punch. Now imagine a big ass boiler tech punching you.
Right in the arm.
That's a BT punch.
And you're in the other side of the space.
Or we would send them off and say, hey, we need batteries for the sound powered, radios.
We the what?
Yeah.
Sound powered headphones.
These guys go all over the damn ship looking for sound, batteries for the sound powered.
The phones just work off of you talking, and it makes a piece of charcoal vibrate. There's no electricity in them at all.
Right.
So these kids out looking for batteries for the sound powered headphones.
I mean, the shit that we did to some of these guys was pretty amazing. But I know I'm a little bit off track, but I love telling them stories. And John likes hearing that part of the Navy because John's always like, hey, so what was it like being in the Navy? I guess one day I really need to do a whole story on that.
No, I really have no idea. I don't
even. We have no idea what y'all did. Think about it.
I couldn't imagine digging a foxhole and sleeping in a tent or a cot with a big spider that looks like a scorpion climbing in my sleeping bag. And no, man, shitting in a.
I will have to say, being part of, it's, and I say that here again almost every time, the combat engineers, are often referred to as 12 Bravos, and it's recategorized today. It's like a 12 series. But see, I was construction engineer, so we build shit. And so when we always, if our environment wasn't cozy, we had the shit to make it cozy. So we did just that. Whatever we needed, we went and got it.
Right.
And when you're good with the supply sergeant and the mess daddy, and they need something done, guess what? They're going to get it, because then they're going to turn around and get me what the hell. I mean, that I think that probably goes throughout all the services.
Oh,
You know who to what side your bread is buttered on, so to speak. I just talked to a sergeant major the other day up where my daughter is working, and he it was kind of fun. I was talking to Smadge, and I'm like, you don't normally talk to a sergeant major. I mean, they're a lot of times really big assholes. And I had some real assholes, but I mean, you kind of, to a degree, you needed to be an asshole when you're in that position, not necessarily to everybody, but I mean,
I learned the most from some of the bosses I worked for in the military that everybody else said was an asshole or that they couldn't get along with. And I feel like I didn't figure it out till later in life. Like I was at E4 with E8s that were covered, that were like putting me in cushy jobs because I'd worked for them, not cushy jobs, but if you can be down, instead of serving on the mess decks 90 days, if you can be down in the supply room and you're just handling food that comes in and send it up to the mess decks and shit. I'm reading a book in the afternoon while some other guys are up there cleaning pots and pans and crap like that. But some of the guys in the military that everybody else said was an asshole, I learned the most from, because you shut up and got it done their way. And how they wanted it done. And usually there was a rhyme and a reason to why they wanted it done that way. And it just simply worked easier that way. And if you just shut up and did it and then asked them questions later, they would be cool and gladly teach you, because you did what you were told. And now you want to understand. I know how it works. I know it works.
Yeah.
Why does it work that way?
So yeah, I at least in the Army, I would say, I mean, a lot of it depends on who you're at or where you're at or who you're around. And here again, that applies for the majority of the service. But E7s and above, if you're really in good with an E7 and above, not to say E6 couldn't do it, but E7 and above, you're going to probably lead a pretty comfortable life. And if you happen to have a warrant officer under under the week, you're golden. You are golden.
Man, I tell you what, I had the best warrant officer, Bosun, man. Bosun Fields. That dude was the best guy ever. But let me tell you, I have yelled at admirals. I've yelled at captains. I've yelled at...
Did you just say you yelled at admirals?
All the time. When they would come on board and we'd be running a rig, and they would walk on, and they didn't have a hard hat, or they walk on, be like, you need to get off. And they look at me like I'm done. But then I start yelling, oh, you get off of my rig, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, bro,
that's how it worked, man. Yeah, that's really how it worked.
Rank or not, you're in my zone, man, and I got to keep everybody safe, and I'm responsible for the people in my zone. And, sir, I apologize. You need to step the hell off or put this the hell on.
But, I mean, be honest with you. The 7th Fleet Admiral at the time of Desert Storm went on board the Independence. And we were unwrapping. As soon as we got done, the Admiral's like, I need to talk to Simon. They put my little ass, and I just got done having kidney stones. I had nothing to do with anything. My first kidney stone. He's talking to me about why did somebody write FTN on my M frame, blank the Navy. I'm like, sir, I was on your ship on Independence. It don't matter, Simon. Blah, 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 blah. I mean,
It's where the brotherhood comes in, because you're responsible for the
That's right. You're responsible. I'm like, I didn't do anything.
That was your brother that got you in trouble.
But I remember my commanding officer was a pilot. And I mean, he was this British guy in a helicopter, just do circles and circles and circles and circles. Amazing. So he's like, well, I'm going to get in a helo. And I'm going to show him up. And he's like, any of y'all want to go? I'm not riding with you. Your ass was shot down in Vietnam. No, no. And he would always be like, hey, Simon, you want, no, mm-mm. You know, he would always be like, hey, he would take guys up and take them around when stuff wasn't going on during after we leave the Persian Gulf. And he's like, Simon, how come you never get in a helicopter with me? No. Matter of fact, when they landed, I will never forget. I forgot what her name is, but she was a redhead, and she was our helicopter pilot. We had two of them. She picked me up, asked me how I was doing off of the Independence, flying me back. Well, Captain was with her. And I'm like, I just want to know who in the hell is flying this helicopter. Because I wasn't flying with him. I would not, And she's like, I'm doing it. I'll tell you what, them helicopter pilots, them helos, landing on a supply ship deck, man, they some amazing pilots, man. I don't give a shit who them Black Hawk guys have. They ain't shit to them helo pilots, man.
So I started my Navy career not knowing shit about the Navy. I was 16, joined the delayed entry program, studied nothing, didn't go see the recruiter about anything. He lived an hour and 20 minutes away from me. I'm in the armpit of Illinois, you know, as far northwest as you can go is my tiny little town. So he came, signed kids up, and you would never see him again. So I didn't know jack about anything in the Navy. Got in, went through boot camp, made my way as the quiet guy in the back and shut my mouth. Barely knew what a warrant officer was, let alone a chief, when I got out of boot camp, because just stayed in the back and did what I was told and didn't study shit, didn't care, just to figure it out as you go. Got through school and stuff, and wasn't the greatest in the first school. When I'm 18, 19 years old in San Diego, you're going to let me drink on base and put Tijuana right there. Like, dude, I'm not going to ace this thing. I'm a pass it, but I am not going to ace it. I'm from a drinking town, man, and you put me on a base where I could drink. So I graduated that, like the middle of my class, and all these orders got wrote up on the board. And I was like, don't you, any of you assholes take Japan. What? That was the only thing overseas. And they're all like fighting over North Carolina and shit like that. I'm like, no, I want Japan. I want to go overseas. I want to see things. I do not want to stay stateside. I don't want to get stuck in Podunk, Maryland or something. And so they sent me to the Independence, and they were already in the Gulf when I got to Japan. So I sat around Japan for a little while, and then they flew me to the Gulf, and I base hopped from crappy place to crappy place on helo plane or on helos, and then cargo planes. And finally they're like, all right, you're going to the ship. And I landed on that damn thing in the back of a freaking cargo plane on an aircraft carrier, man.
John, but don't let his ass fool you.
Oh,
They have a 24-hour McDonald's. It's not really a McDonald's, but it's a hamburger, hot dog, and French fry.
they were never
On
that
board.
hard
The
and
Independence.
cold. The forward galley was always open 23 hours.
What, on an aircraft carrier?
Yes.
You had two galleys. You had forward and aft. The aft galley served regular meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eggs, bacon, pancakes.
That's, the cooks is the one job that I thought would be miserable, because you're never not busy. I mean, yeah, you got time off, but we had the ability to change it up quite a bit, but as a cook, those guys, I had a lot of respect, because I just thought that job would
I agree.
suck.
I do too.
I worked for them on both ships. I worked on the galley in both ships, and one of the asshole bosses was one of the coolest E8s I ever worked for, was the one on the Shiloh. When I was on the Independence, and I was mess cranking the first time when I landed there on the plane, on the cargo plane and stuff, my dad had the opportunity in 1992 to come on board the USS Independence from Dubuque, Iowa. He flew to Hong Kong.
Really?
met the
Wow.
ship to go on what they call a Tiger cruise.
Yeah.
The last port of every 6-month deployment, they give crew members the opportunity to go home on leave. And then that last week or so, while you're floating out at sea, you can invite male or female now, if there's females on the ship, you can invite family member or friends, but they have to provide their own transportation to port of call where you're leaving from, and they have to provide their own transportation home from your home port. So my dad had to buy a ticket from here to Hong Kong and then from Japan back to home. And he did, and he hated flying. And I had E5 and I was an E3 on the carrier when my dad came there. And he looked at me the day before my dad got there, and he's like, I don't want to see you while your dad's here.
Cool.
Excuse me? And he said, I don't want to see you while your dad's here. He's like, you're never going to have this opportunity again. Show him around. So I was so fortunate. I have hours of video on YouTube that I actually put it on there of when my dad was there, from Tiger cruises to the people in my shop putting him in an OBA and teaching him firefighting stuff, to him up bullshitting with the captain of the Independence, to I had another guy got him up in the catwalk in a helmet and goggles and everything with his little video camera, his old VHS video camera. My dad's in the catwalk while they're launching and recovering planes on the aircraft carrier. So it was quite the experience. Grew up in crazy world, and then I got to land on the Shiloh on a helo with one of those bear trap things that I was talking about earlier, when the seas are rocking.
Yeah.
And
Forget
like
that bullshit. Hell no.
Yeah. Forget that bullshit.
Yeah, hey, I wouldn't want to do it again, man.
I can tell you right now, there's two things I don't like to do in life. I don't like to play with spiders, and I sure in the hell don't like to fly.
Yeah, I'm not.
Hell no.
Flying is something I would. My brother's a pilot, and although I'm not going to be flying a fixed air wing, I want to do powered paragliding.
Hell no. What is wrong with you people? Why?
It's I don't want to. I mean, I love motorcycles. I've had a few motorcycles. I dearly love them. But if I'm going to spend the money, and I want to be able, I don't want to have to follow a road, and I want to be able to see the things that people don't get to see from above. That's my infatuation. Yeah, I'm just flying around with a damn fan on my back, essentially, and they call it a wing, or it's a parachute above you. But for somebody who doesn't, it's they call it a wing in the sport. So yeah, you're flying through the air, and look at that dumbass flying with nothing but a parachute above it.
No. That's what, like I said, the reason I went in the Navy is that, I didn't want to get shot at.
Yeah, which I think. Wait, didn't you say that's a 30mm gun on the front of your ship there?
Yeah, it's something. I mean, I don't know. Our gunners maybe weren't that good.
No,
I was glad we were never attacked.
So they never had you. Surely they had practice
listen
drills.
to that after I just said that, but
surely you guys. I mean, you guys had to get. Did you guys normally carry sidearms or long rifles?
No. During wartime, we had a roving patrol, but
Nobody carries sidearms.
nobody carried
Really?
sidearms. No, man, we're
Nobody
too busy
had-
working.
No, you got no reason for a sidearm out there. Ain't nobody shooting at your ass.
Right.
And if they are, the big guns are gonna be shooting at them. No, man, half the people in the Navy never even saw weapons. Shit, I was amazed by the amount of people in the Navy that couldn't swim.
Oh yeah, me too. At least half.
That is amazing
Yeah.
to me. I would think
I'd say at least 40 to 50%.
Are you freaking kidding me? That didn't know how to swim?
Oh, what are you doing in the Navy? You can't swim. Man,
Now-
that was
Now here's the other thing. I mean, I love reminiscing on this. Hey, we talked about the Gulf War, everybody, but during the Gulf War, that's when, before the coal was attacked, sadly attacked, we all got word that, hey, this is what Iraq is doing. They're sending small boats and, crashing in and blowing up ships. We
Yeah.
shot at one. It was CNN.
I remember putting up extra watches for that shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more. I mean, shit is going batshit crazy in our world, and your very state, as you know, and it's not just your state, Texas. It's all over our
Right.
country with people wanting to go in. There's a lot of mental issues, but I'm actually a little surprised there hasn't been more, ship attacks or pirate attacks. And there's probably happened, but they're not making the news.
Right. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy, man. I tell you what. I was like, you see them small boats, and you're just like, yeah, is that one coming at us? I hope our gunmen can hit that little thing, because they couldn't hit that big orange tomato we put out in the water.
Right. The damn Sea wasn't hitting that shit. They were trailing.
Man, it was like, come on. But we didn't have Sea Whiz. Back then we just had a 50 cal.
I've seen videos of that thing. That thing is scary as shit.
I want it,
cool
man.
when you're standing out there and that shit goes off, man.
It
It
was-
is so cool.
It was probably a good thing they didn't have it on the ship, because I would have been like, I want to test it.
Sitting there like, oh yeah, man. I wanted to push all the buttons, man.
Yeah, I'm like, what that button do?
I got to go in the control rooms and the pilot house and the CIC and all that crap, man. And I was like, "What, you could just shoot shit right here? You just like right there." And
There was no way they were gonna let they were not gonna.
It-
I almost said my little ass,
I know you did.
but there's no way they were gonna let me go in there, because I mean, I like to have fun now, but I also like to have fun in the Navy too, man.
Oh yeah.
And they would have been like, Simon ain't coming in here. But I enjoy reminisce about this and everything. And Matty, over the years, and even John, over the years, I hope our kids can look back and watch these podcasts and all these shows and be like, you know what? There was more than just Desert Storm. There was more to it.
Yeah.
And I to me, it breaks my heart that they don't teach enough about it. But you know what? We're gonna educate them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to actually hate U.S. history, and I'm still not great at it, but I'm intrigued with it. What's happened, with the various wars and
Right.
what happened, who did what, and why they did it, and what created the war. And because you got to understand, there's always two sides to everything, just like when here again, I'm not picking sides. I'm simply making a comment here. When Biden was it where was he at recently? Was it Taiwan? Is Taiwan?
Yeah.
And they made a comment. Somebody asked him the question, what happened if would we support Taiwan if China went out? And it was Biden was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, there you go. You were just he didn't give a political bullshit answer. It was, don't fuck with them, or there's going to be issue. I mean,
Right.
he didn't have to say that.
Right. Right.
I like it when I don't care what side of the fence you're on. If you're a politician, can give a straight answer, yes or no, or this is the bottom line, and not beat around the bush and not answer the freaking question. I got to respect that. I don't care who you are, what side of the fence you're on.
I mean, hey, I'm in a prominent Republican area, but there's only so far been, I'm going to say this. I don't care who takes it. I haven't heard any other president yet talk about the exposures like it's coming out now. What has brought out all these people?
Yeah. Well, he did have his son over there, but
right. But I mean, I'm talking about, it's been on movie. It's now on TV shows, Grey's Anatomy.
yeah.
Start playing. What has all of a sudden is it that, okay, yeah, there were toxic exposures.
I want to see more research into the children,
Amen.
the autistic. I want to know the autistic numbers. I truly do, and I only know a handful around here, but I know a handful, and I ask everybody that was in whether they've had that damn shot or not, and where they were and what they did. And I know more than a handful that have autistic children, and I know a couple of recent Afghanistan vets that have severely autistic children. So they're still pumping out the same damn vaccine, or were they then? You know, these kids are probably 10 years old, 12 years old area, and some as old as 18 to 22, born with brain tumors and autistic and don't talk right. And one of them I knew was 7.5 years old, and their younger brother was just as autistic as her, but the doctor did, besides her throwing poop, if she didn't start speaking sentences in the next year or so, this poor little girl may never. And guess what? He had the shot, and he was over there how many times? And I want those numbers to come out too. There's more to just us and Camp Lejeune, and they've been doing rotten shit to us for a long time, man.
Long time. You're damn right. You're damn right. And that's just it.
No more either.
And it's time to stop it. And the only way we're going to stop it is if we stand up. The next generations that are going through stuff, we need to stop it. We need to be the ones that say enough's enough.
I got a laptop and 2 webcams. I'll be in front of a place on Veterans Day. You guys say where we're going to rally up at, and I'll man up a post in Illinois or Iowa.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I got some really good ideas, man. I'm telling you, I've been topping some ideas, and I really truly think that if everybody will stick with a good plan, and all the Go For veterans, I mean every veteran, stick together, we're going to let the VA, we're going to let the world know all veterans are united now. So I got a plan. I'm working on it and everything. And so, but, you know, we're going to have to end the show. But, Matty, I want to thank you, man. Thank you for being on board the USS Independence, the one ship I would not want to be on, besides the submarine. John, I love you as my co-host, man. You're my big buddy.
It's good. It's good to be a part of it. And yeah, thank you so much, Matty, for coming on. This was fun because I mean we get to talk a little. This is the most stories, and I love hearing all the stories because you know, here again, I don't know anything about the Navy, or you know, it's fun to hear. You know,
we're the driving force.
I super appreciate the chance to come on, man. I've been watching you guys for a while and trying to build up more knowledge on my own for Gulf War illness and things like that. I had the chance to go on a veteran retreat up fishing years ago and got to meet a 94-year-old World War II vet that drove the beaches in the Normandy. And
cool.
It really took me back to made me realize what made us keep going, what keeps it. I mean, I can't imagine what haunted that guy's head forever. And that's where I came up with the greater than 22, is that cannabis is what's kept me from being the greater than 22 to defeat the side effects of this bullshit, whether it's the brain fog or the muscle pain or just the fatigue. You know, cannabis will help me sleep a little bit longer than the couple of hours that the muscle pain stops me from sleeping.
So, Matt, so you've been to so you're going to a CMP exam?
I have. Well, I've been through the latest CMP exams, but now I got to go back in for a couple other things. I'm having a hell of a time right now. I don't have anything Gulf War related. They turned down everything that I turned in Gulf War related.
All right.
So I also didn't turn in much.
Right. Here's the key. You got to go through your records. All right.
Yeah.
But do you have a VSO officer?
Yeah, but I haven't turned in any instances. And now that I'm at the rating I'm at, they're actually sending me in for scope for GERD.
Good. That's awesome.
49, so they're gonna spigot me, and I'm getting the old colonoscopy.
Yeah, I did that.
I've got rhinitis. I've got an ENT that I'm going to for my ear pain and stuff like that, and my head issues. So the VA is gonna end up giving me all these diagnoses. The VHA is gonna give me them, and I'm gonna turn around and use them and turn it back into the VBA. better armed than I was before. I just turned in basic paperwork.
Right.
They gave me back nothing presumptive. Oh, I'll play your game.
If you need help, you got my cell phone now. You call
Oh,
me anytime, man. And I'll tell you, you can reach out to John. John will help you just as much as I will, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, there's definitely, I hate to phrase it, but I mean, and it's not really tricks of the trade. My God, it sounds like it's a secret
I
thing.
know.
It's not. It's simply you need to tell them what they need to hear. Is that fair enough?
Yes. It's
Tell them what they need to
terminology.
hear.
Terminology.
I got their languages and notes and stuff like that written down. I learned that too. It's you got to learn to not play their game, but you got to learn to talk their language. And
Yeah, that's a good way to state it.
Right.
Talk
It
their
is.
I
language.
want it wrote down. It's like those bosses that I had in the Navy. Everybody else said they were a dick, but I didn't take the time to stop and do it their way. Well,
Now it's time. Yeah.
6-7 years ago, and they said, "Hey, no, you don't."
But if you need us, you let me know.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, by all means.
and I mean, I want to thank everybody for listening. And if anybody has questions, they know how to get in touch with me and everything. But I want everybody to have a good night. Y'all please go to my website at goal4sideeffects.wordpress.com or email me at kevinsimon@goal4sideeffects.com. And please help support this podcast and the veterans by clicking on the link below. Thank you for your support.